The tryouts, a lot of people came out. We had to narrow it down to the people we thought that were school appropriate, interesting, and that type of stuff. And at the actual talent show, it was awesome.
When we walked in to the talent show and the audience, all the chairs were filled, we had to get more chairs for other people, and that was just exceeding all of our expectations, and that was an amazing feeling.
There was lots of acts singing. We had this one guy who pogo sticked and jumped roped at the same time. Our teachers got involved. They did this lip sync battle. We had like these bobbleheads of the principals, and we had one group do synchronized swimming.
And then we had the intermission where we had most of our t-shirt sales, which have Water for Ethiopia on them. We had our big good sales and the donations that we got, which contributed to the $2,000 that we raised. And then after the intermission, we had awards, and then we cleaned up after that.
So we were about $400 short of our goal, but it was really proud moment for us as a class because there's 32 of us, 32 8th grade students were able to do this, and some teachers and even our principals had doubts about this, but after that we were like, look what we did.
There were a lot of really memorable parts of the service learning project. One of the things that I really liked was seeing at the beginning of this project when the students selected Ethiopia as a country to support and to kind of work with. They had a lot of questions when they started researching. They knew that water was an issue, but the students were like, well, why don't they just drive to the store and get the water? Or why don't they make better wells?
Because in our curriculum, in Springboard, it was change a dystopia to a utopia and change the world. And so we decided that we were going to do that, and we had to decide on what we were going to do, and that was to raise money for water for people in Ethiopia, and also how we were going to do that, and that was by the talent show.
When we were given that, we came up with the idea of helping Ethiopia because when we were researching them, we found out that they don't have a lot of clean water, and that's a problem there because they get diseases and stuff like that.
And so once they started researching a little bit more, and we started reading A Long Walk to Water and a few other things, had a Skype with someone who worked at World Vision and worked with the company that we were going to be working with. And we had a missionary that was around that same area come in and kind of show what life was like. It was like light bulbs went off.
And so we got in contact with people in World Vision we had to know how much it was going to cost and how much we were going to set our goal for, and that ended up being $2,500.
I liked that they didn't just have this idea of, well, we're going to come in and change things. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. But to have that drive and to have that passion of like, okay, they need our help. We see that this is a problem, and now we're going to do something about it.
A challenge that we faced during this project was about halfway through, we lost motivation. And to fix that problem, we decided to break up the groups and rearrange the groups so that people were working with different people doing different jobs. So then they got remotivated. And another thing, we saw the video on Ethiopia that one of our groups had made, and that really motivated us because we saw that we were actually getting there and that we were almost there. So we were able to keep going.
There were times where I definitely wanted to intervene just because they were so excited about it, and I wanted to say, oh, this will be a really great idea too, but having to pull back, that was a little bit difficult. But it was awesome to see their final outcome, to be able to say, no, this wasn't me, this was a bunch of students. That was great.
To resolve disagreements during this project, we would sometimes take a vote, but sometimes as my job as class manager or Ms. Wilder, we would just say that this is in the best interest for the talent show and to be able to help Ethiopia. So we would just put our foot down and say that this is what we're going to have to do.
At the beginning, I was put into the group of performers, so I had to come up with an act for the talent show. That was to ensure that we had 5 varieties of acts, so that way that it was different. And then once I figured out what I was going to do and I got the group together for the people that I was going to do it with, I got changed to the logistics group, and that was to manage the scheduling and that kind of thing to make sure that everyone had a job and everything was being done the day of the talent show.
A lot of the students found kind of a niche with the different groups that they were in, and they were able to step up and they were able to demonstrate some sort of leadership qualities or really just kind of shine with the talents that they already had. Um, what I really thought was so great was they created a commercial. And this was early on in kind of the project in preparation for the talent show and preparation for advertising for the talent show, advertising for tryouts, that kind of thing. So we had different groups, and one of the groups were they used technology to create the commercial. Another group wrote the script. And then the logistics group planned out who was going to be partnered up, who was going to say and present this commercial to all of the different classrooms in the school. And to be able to step back and to see that day when it was due that we're saying you're going out into the classrooms, you're going to discuss it, and then to be able to get responses from teachers. I got emails saying the students did a great job, they were really well informed, the commercial was wonderful, and to hear that other students were excited, not just the teachers, about what was coming up. That was really cool because it was the whole class effort. And so that was the first time where I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to work.
And something that I learned from this was that even as an 8th grade class, we can make a world difference, and that someone shouldn't shy away from trying to change the world even though they're just one person.
My favorite part about this service learning project was that we got to help somebody else. And I think we really realized that it's better to give than to receive, because by doing this, I saw my classmates, they were happy, and it was really very fun to help somebody else. And I feel like we learned a lot about helping, and we learned a lot about Ethiopia and different places in the world that are worse off than we are, because sometimes we think that our life is terrible, but if we look at other people, we realize that we're not so bad.
You hear that all the time, that 8th grade students, teenagers, middle schoolers especially, like they're so self-centered. That's just kind of a general attitude that the world, I think, has towards students. And then to say, like, no, this group of 31 students, they're actually making a difference. They want to make a difference, I think was what was so great.